What's up, y'all? This is Henny, and today I want to help you manage and organize your files as best as I know possible on your iPads and your iOS devices. Y'all know I know how to organize some shit. But first, I want to say thank you to all of those new subscribers, all of those new people who are now checking into your boy's channel. Yay! Appreciate y'all. But really, I do appreciate all the comments, all the love and support that I got in the channel the last couple weeks. It's been amazing. The ride continues. The rocket ship keeps flying higher. But there has been many questions people have asked about how to organize files, or how to manage files, or how to import files, or how to offload or export files on your devices when it comes to, doing music or video, all of the things that take a lot of space on your device. Let's talk about how to really organize and get them right so that you don't run out of space quicker than you would like. I got a couple of tricks that I've figured out over the last couple of years of how to really get my files in the right places so that they're accessible when I need them to, or they're backed up. So, you feel, you know the deal, you know what's real. Let's go.
The business.
First off, let's talk music. When it comes to organizing, getting your files together, there's no app that I could recommend more than AudioShare. AudioShare has been my favorite app that I've used for the last couple of years, ever since I've learned about it. I mean, when it comes to organization, my music files, I put everything in here. I put my samples in here. I put my sound effects in here. I put the beats that I've bounced in here. I put my ideas in here. I put some of the songs I've recorded in here from other sessions. I got other sessions in here. I mean, this is my one-stop shop for putting all my files into an app so that I can manage them. So let me show you how I import that, and let me show you what other things it can do that makes this app truly amazing. Let's dive in. So as you can see, I have tons of files here that can be organized even better than I have it. I have beats and files and loops and stuff that I've got online, and different sounds that I've got from other people. So let's say I want to go in and import some new files. I'm gonna go here and say import. You can either import from Dropbox, import from Music Library, which is iTunes, but you got to make sure that if you want to import your files from iTunes, that they've already been downloaded to your device. It will not download just straight from Apple Music. It'll have to be downloaded, and it'll have to be actually something you purchased from iTunes, and that's the Music Library, or Document Picker, which is basically your iCloud or files. I'm gonna choose Dropbox, and we're gonna go in and import some sound effects that I have. Go here. I've already authenticated my Dropbox file. So I have an open folder in Dropbox called sound effects. It wasn't zipped already. It's not a compressed zip file. It's already just a folder with sounds already in it. And I'm going to import that folder into AudioShare. Even if you're a filmmaker, this app is really key for getting all those sounds. Like, just because, you don't do music doesn't mean this app isn't a really great tool for a lot of those people out there. And it works very well on your iPhone as well. I'm going to show you a lot of things that this app can do. Now, when it's done, the folder will be right here. All the sound effects. Now, these are sound effects that I got online, of course. This is always clutch. Just loud as hell, probably. Golly. All these different sound effects, right? If you're a musician or a filmmaker, this is a really great tool. The tools that AudioShare can do, even inside of a file, are pretty crazy just for a basic organizational app. Basic organizational app. I think that's... Yeah, y'all feel me. Now, it can normalize, and if you're not into music, you might not know what normalizes is. It takes the lowest parts of a WAV file and the highest parts of a WAV file and make sure they stay in a specific range. They don't clip, and they really hit the top of it, right? They really boom, 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 hit the top and don't clip your file. And so you can normalize the file. You can trim and fade the file. So if I went here and I said, okay, I really like this is, let me go to a different file. So let's say I have this, let's say I just have this reverse cymbal sound, right? And I want to go ahead and trim that file. All I have to do is hit the trim and fade, and it has two different pieces that you can drag left and right. So if I really only wanted it to start there, right? Or maybe. Instead of the reverse, I can do that and it'll save as a new trimmed file. A great thing to do if you're, wanting just a specific part of a sound or, part of a file that you really want to clip up. That's a great thing to do within Audio Share. And then also, it can convert it. So sometimes you have an MP3 file or a .aiff file or a WAV file that you want converted into an MP3 or MP4 file. This can convert most of those things. So you can convert to WAV, IAFF, MP4, CIF, MP4, ALAC. Not really sure what that is. I think it's probably a higher bit rate, but you can convert it into stereo. You can convert it into mono. You can change the bit depth and the sample rate. So, you can convert your files. You can convert your audio files all from this app. Then on top of that, you can easily take a file, hold it, press down on it, and it'll give you all these other options. You can rename it, you can move it, you can make a zip archive of it, you can copy it to Dropbox, you can export it to something like G Drive or iCloud, or you can put a note on it. All of these things are amazing to do when you want to organize your files. And so I have all of these files in this folder, and I can literally, take it and zip it back up, send it somewhere else. Like if I want to send out my tracks or, if I want to send out a group of sounds to an individual, like this needs piano parts, I'll just easily tap that file. It asks if I want to unzip it, say no, and I can send it to another app or I can email it. So, as you can see, Audio Share is great for organizing your audio files, but it can take it one step further. I've also used this app to record audio directly into it. So say, for instance, I want to do some overdubbing or if I want to do some voiceover work. I use my trusty Shure MV88. I could take this MV88, plug it directly in, and now I have a high quality mic recording directly into Audio Share. Now the video I did on LumaFusion where I did the whole part of the, the Crave review, I did it right here. I just, talked directly into my mic and recorded it just like that. I can hit stop and now I have an audio file. So for any songwriters out there, for anybody who, needs to do audio and keep, their audio on deck, this is a perfect tool to get your ideas out and to keep them right there. And if you have something like, this Shure MV88, some of those files are good enough to use in a project. So LumaFusion review, I recorded it. I did on, you remember, and just like that. I can hit stop. It's a great way to keep your sounds organized. If you don't have something like Dropbox or G Drive and you want to just transfer files directly from your computer, there's a thing called Wi-Fi drive. You can see right here, you turn it on and it'll give you an IP address. You type in the IP address into your computer, specifically if like you're on your local network, it'll read and see your Audio Share, and then you can just drag and drop files into there. It's seamless. This app can do so much for audio that you can tell why this is my go-to for audio organization. Boom, that's that. Now people people ask a lot of times, how do you get your files from certain cameras that act up, right? I've talked about like a Sony camera. Sony cameras have a hard time importing their files. Sony have the hardest time importing their files from the dongle like this, which is the Lightning, the SD card. And people are saying, I have a Sony camera. I tried to use the same way that you just use the adapter and it didn't work. It does not work that way with Sony AVC HD files. So if you want to import Sony files, there's two ways that I've learned. One way, which is going to be hard to show you, but I'll try to tell you as much as I can or do some B-roll. Basically taking the camera, changing the USB settings to MTP mode, and then you take the micro USB of a micro USB cable into the camera, and then you also take a regular USB to lightning adapter, and you plug all of that into the iPad, and then it recognizes those files. And I was like, that's dope, but is there any other way that I can import the files without having to, plug up the dongles and all of that? And I came across a device that I think is really cool. This is the RAV Power. This is a portable charger for your device. This is also a way to import files via SD card, or you can input files and export files via, if y'all can see that, via USB. If you're at a hotel that doesn't have Wi-Fi, I don't know what type of hotels don't have Wi-Fi these days, but you can hook this up and create a Wi-Fi network. And what I realized about this is I could just take the files from my Sony, bring it into here, and connect this Wi-Fi device to my iPad. Let me show you how that works. So I'm gonna turn it on, hold it a few seconds. It's gonna load up, and then it's gonna start its Wi-Fi signal. All right, Wi-Fi is up. Now you can connect to it. File Hub Plus 9F66 is what mine says. I believe that's the serial number of this specific device. And then I can go into File Hub Plus, and it has its own app. What's really, really cool about this app is that not only can it read from the SD card, but it also can read from a hard drive. So I can take my cable, connect my cable to it. See my lacy portable hard drive. Let's plug those both up. So it can import from this device, and it can also export to this device. So now if I go to the file folders and see here, it says what's on your iPad and what's on your File Hub Plus, it'll show two volumes. It'll show my USB Disk 2 volume, which is my hard drive, my SD card volume, which is the SD card. So if I go into, my USB, and it's showing everything that's on my hard drive. But if I want to see what's on my Fuji X100, it's showing all my JPEGs. I didn't take any movies, but I easily can select these files. You can copy over which ones. It'll say copy to. You can copy to your documents, or you can copy to your photos. I'm gonna go ahead and copy to my documents, to the camera roll, and paste. And it's going to transfer over those files. The only thing that I do not like about this device is it is kind of slow on the Wi-Fi transfer speed. That is to be expected because you're transferring large files over Wi-Fi. But in a pinch, when you need to drag files over without the use of connecting your iPad directly, or you want something that like you want to back up some files to a hard drive without using like a cloud storage based system, you can go ahead and use this straight to a to a hard drive, or import it back and forth. This device is about 39, I believe, 30-40 bucks US, and it's great. It can charge your devices as well as transfer files back and forth. So this is another great way to manage your files. So if I have, say for instance, open up LumaFusion, and I want to export, say I want to export a file back into the hard drive, all I would do is go to LumaFusion, type project archive, and I want to send it to another app. I'm going to go ahead and share this clip that I was working on back to this hard drive. People were asking, how do you go about backing up and storing your sessions, or your edits? Let me show you how I'm doing that. I'm gonna go ahead and drop that. It's gonna write the project like it's just backing up the file, and then it'll give you the option to say where you want to send it. When it's done, it'll give you options. I want to tell it to copy to File Hub Plus. Copy to File Hub Plus. It's going to bring up File Hub Plus, and I want to, it's asking what what volume I want to put it on. I'm going to go ahead and put it on volume 2, and I want it to copy here. and save. Now this is going to copy and back up the LumaFusion edit file that I just backed up. So you see, it might take a while depending on the size of your, Luma file session, but now it's going from your iPad to your hard drive without touching your laptop. Okay, a lot of y'all already knew this, but this is a great way to set it up, organizing your files, managing your files. People are saying, well, I don't have a big iPad. My storage space on my iPad isn't as big as the 512 iPad Pro. It might take you a couple extra steps to get where you need to go, but you can still do maybe one edit at a time and then have an external hard drive and back it up this way. That way you're constantly able to keep your files backed up and, not necessarily have to use your laptop. Another way to, manage and keep your files, backed up, stored, and, with you on the go is this device. I've talked about it time and time again, but this is a Hutu Lightning to USB flash drive. And, you just plug it into here, allow. It has its own app. And as you can see, I use this tool all the time. If I'm in the studio and I'm working with artists, working with different producers, and we're collaborating, I'll take my files or I'll take my MP3s or whatever we're doing, and I will copy the files onto this drive, and then we can just plug it into somebody else's laptop or somebody else's computer to work. And, regardless if I'm using something like Audio Share, I could take this file right here and say, let's drag it over to iPlugmate. It's going to pop up and ask if you want to save this file. I'm say save. It's going to do the same thing. It's going to transfer the files over. And the cool thing about this is it's a lot faster because it's not wireless or whatever. It's dealing directly with, Lightning straight from your iPad to it. The problem is, with flash drives, they're not as big as, 2-3 terabyte hard drive where you can keep a lot more space. So I use the, the hard drives for backing up, and on the go, I manage my files using this device. And, they have them different variants. This is a 64 gig, and I think this cost me about $50-$60. But, if you think about these things, right, you might only have a 32 gig iPad or 128 and you want more space. You can get maybe, another 128 gigabytes by using something like this and plugging and playing when it comes to, backing your files up or taking your files on the go. And so that is a great way to organize and manage your files when you don't have as much space. The last thing, and I've talked about it before, but I'll reiterate this, is the app called Documents. And with Documents, this is the app where it's my go-to app for downloading anything off the web or getting any of my files to where I can get them back onto any of my apps that I'm using. So a lot of people ask questions like, how did you get like the Cinescope lines in your LumaFusion? I went here in Documents to Browser. I just typed in Cinescope bars PNG. And you can see there's a whole bunch of files here that you can literally download from. And let's see, 352 letterbox templates for video editing. It's like the third link. I go here and what are letterbox? Talks about letterboxing. Download free letterbox templates. You hold this down and you say you want to download that link, and it says free letterbox templates.zip. Done. Go back here, go to Documents, go to Downloads. You see it's still downloading right here. Hope y'all can see that. And when it's done, boom, it's there. You can unzip the file all within Documents. So when it finishes downloading, you'll see this letterbox templates, white and black templates, all the way up to 4K. Let me get the 4K one. This is just a 175, and I can say, that's dope. I can select that and share to LumaFusion. Easy ways to manipulate, manage, and organize your files on iOS. Documents is the other app that I truly recommend if you do not have it already. And I had a whole video on it, but I'm glad some of y'all are just now tuning in to what I got going on over here. And I want to reiterate that, because when it comes to organizing your files, you need ways to make sure that you can do things just like you would on a laptop. And so that's the way I get my files offline, and that's usually what I use, documents for. The last thing I really want to stress and really recommend is that you subscribe to some type of cloud-based storage. I don't care if it's Box or Dropbox or iCloud, Google Drive. The main idea is that you have a way to access your files on many mediums. That's just the way of the future. And I truly, if you want to go in and really dive into an iOS journey, I don't really think it's possible to be successful without having some type of iCloud store, some type of cloud-based storage. And so, in your Files app, it's really great that in iOS 11 that they've given you the ability to really kind of look at your files. So we've talked about this before, but we've already talked about this, but now you can see all the files that I have on Audio Share. It's right here in the files. I can drag that to my iCloud if I wanted to. It's very simple. Or I can drag it to my Dropbox. I also have Google Drive. You can create your folders within your iCloud. All of these things. And I have the 2 terabyte version, and I use it with my entire family. So, my son, my daughters, their devices, my wife's devices, we all have them synced to the same iCloud 2 terabyte storage. They don't use a lot of files. They don't use a lot of storage. But, if you think about it, if you have a family, if you have multiple people who need backup storage, it might be good to invest that $9 a month into getting 2 terabytes in iCloud. And you can store a lot of files with 2 terabytes. And so I'm, storing a lot of my files into iCloud just as much as I'm using, a hard drive like this to really back it up. You want to back up your files as much as possible, but you want to make sure they're accessible when you need them. If you're on the go and you didn't bring your hard drive, you're going to be like, damn, I needed those files. And so, invest into some type of cloud-based storage. And I think if you use something like Audio Share, you try something out like, a RAV Power, device if you want to get files in and out of your iPad or iPhone, or something like this, your lightning the SD card using, apps like Documents and getting some cloud-based storage. You'll have a great way to manage and organize your files on this iOS journey. That's pretty much it. I hope you got something out of it. I wanted to be able to help you understand that there are ways to use your iPad, even if it's not the biggest and, the most upgraded version, that you can really still do a lot with the iPad that you have. I gotta go. I got places to be. So let's keep the comments. Let's keep the engagement flowing on the page. Thank you. Like, subscribe if you aren't already. And you know what it is. Boom. Hit him out.